Nico from Another Messy Crafter again. Last time we finished coloring skin tones on craft with Prismacolor pencils, and now we are moving on to hair and possibly clothes. So let's start with hair. I am going to take my cream again and just cover most of the hair lightly with that. Don't give too thick of a layer, because then you will obscure your lines totally, and at least first you need to see them properly. It's basically like putting on the light layer with Copics, so that darker shades would blend better. Same logic. It's not that different from copy coloring, really. It's all about blending and putting down layers. Now I have that done, and now I am moving on to Jasmine. And as I said before, if you don't have the colors I am using, that is not a problem. You can substitute to whatever you have, because I happen to have the 120 pencil set, and not everybody does. Some of you may have a smaller sets, but you still have enough for layering. They blend very, very well. Just keep building them up in layers, and that's the key pretty much. Next color is Goldenrod. It's one of my favorite yellows. It's very warm, but and now I am starting to kind of lay down some shadow areas. I don't cover the whole thing anymore now. So I'm putting that pencil where I want a bit darker areas. So now I have to kind of decide where I want them. Here and here and here. Now, I know it sounds a bit weird and crazy, but orange for hair, but trust me, it's going to work. I think for blonde hair it actually works pretty well. This one is mineral orange. And now I am putting down smaller and smaller areas, as you can see. The darker I go, the smaller areas I am using. That's again the same, the Copics, and with any coloring that involves blending. So there's no big news about it. Like there's nothing complicated really. It's all about using different layers and building up the color. And don't do your strokes or your pencil strokes too uniform, as the hair is moving, and the natural thing would be a bit of a randomness about it. And don't worry about the obscured stamp lines. because those are going to be fixed soon enough. And next color now, I'm moving away now from oranges, and I'm going to brown, Sienna Brown or brown sienna, whichever way you want to say it. And this one now I start putting on quite carefully. Yes, so now we're doing just shadows. We're not doing the main colorways anymore. We're just doing shadows. So it's, you know, behind strands and underneath the hat and the way, just, you know, you look at the hair moving and you can see it yourself, how it's going to work. It all looks more natural, and the more colors you put into it, the more layers you build, the more natural it's going to look. One thing to remember with Prismas though is that with Copics you have this wonderful thing called blending marker or blending pen, with which you can correct your mistakes and go in over the lines afterwards. Then with Prismas it's a bit more tricky, because they don't really react well with eraser. It doesn't really work much on Prismacolor pencils. They're quite hard to erase, which is why, you know, you're better off just try not to go outside the lines in your image. It's just, you know, no disaster. You can disguise it later with something, but it is harder to deal with than with Copics. Now that color I'm using here at the moment is Dark Umber, and you want to use it very carefully. It's very, very dark, and just in the deepest shadow areas. But it does give a good contrast. I do love that color. It's just, and you know, some areas you, like here underneath the hat, I am applying quite a strong pressure because I want pretty sharp shadow here, whereas some areas I might just give a very, very light touch with it, like here. And here underneath that strand of hair. It's just, and remember that hair isn't uniform, it isn't flat blocks, alright? It's moving and changing, so it's made up from little strands, so you might give a little stripes kind of going upwards as well, which is going to make it look more like hair. You can see some texture to it. Now I'm moving back to Goldenrod, and I need to sharpen it first. And I'm now going to blend out the bits I want to blend out with it, the darker areas. And I keep taking it into the lighter area, but I keep taking it in strokes, a bit non-uniform, random strokes. So this way it will look more like hair. And now I'm moving on to Jasmine again. That would be the light yellow. And now I'm going to take color out again, moving from the darker areas to the lighter areas, but not all the way, not covering the whole thing up, just kind of burnishing it in and giving it more of a and making it lighter again, because it started looking fairly. And now I go to cream. That's the lightest yellow. Again, I'm now going to the areas which would be lighter. And as before, I am moving in to strokes, so the hair would look like hair now. And now I'm going to take white and give it some more oomph. Not everywhere now, but where I want it to really kind of shine, I'm going to take white in to highlight the lightest areas, and I don't really blend it in. I kind of give it a stroke of white. Yes, I do have to do that. But as you can hear, I keep blowing, so the loose pigment wouldn't stay here on the paper and then smudge under my hand and ruin all my work. No. And that's about it here. I think that looks alright enough. And now moving on to the dress.